Oh, what's going on, everybody? Welcome back to another video. Hope y'all are having a great day. I know it's been quite some time since I did a video like this, just me by myself. Don't worry, Yanks Show will be back on Thursday morning, but for now, we're going back to something I did quite a bit last year, which was a tier list, and pretty much it's just a really convenient way to grade how each player is doing this season, and that's exactly what we'll do. So we'll go through pretty much every player that has played on the 2023 Yankees and grade them in one of these 7 tiers. Now, of course, there's going to be a lot of guys that are injured that'll be in the bottom tier here, has not played, but besides that, we got a lot of judging to do, guys. One might call it Judgment Day. Might as well get right into it. But before we do that, drop a like on this video if you enjoyed, subscribe if you are new, and if you want me to do more of these individual solo videos, just let me know. And, from time to time, I'll try to do them. But without further ado, let's get right into it. This order is randomized. I did not create this list, although I will put a link in the description if you guys want to check it out. But starting off with Albert Abreu. Now, you'll see me look over to the side here because I do have some stats written out. Now, Abreu, you see the 5.4 ERA he had, and you may want to put him like the awful category. It needs to be better. But before the Sunday blowout against Texas, he had a 1.4 ERA. So I'm actually going to put him in the... I won't put him in the grade because he did have that bad game, but definitely has been good so far. Josh Donaldson, I mean, he did technically play only 5 games this year, though, and wasn't all that great, but I ain't going to judge him on that. So we'll put him in the has not played category. At least for now. He is expected to be back at some point. His rehab assignment he did have a setback with. But, I ain't even going to lie to you guys. Like, I give him a lot of shit. But I think all of us would probably take Josh Donaldson in the lineup right now. Even though he is kind of washed. Jhony Brito. So, this, a little bit tough. First 2 starts were great. Had the blow up against Minnesota. And since then, hasn't really been amazing. Hasn't really been good. He's been solid, though. I don't want to put him in the needs to be better category. Mainly because he's kind of filled his role. He's not supposed to be a big key piece of this team. I think he's filled his role nice, and, if all works out, we'll get to him in a moment. Rodon, we don't know what the deal is. It came out today that he has no pain, but something feels off in his back, and he's, they don't even know what the situation's going to be. So he's far off for a while. However, Luis Severino should be back soon. Point is I'm making, I think Jhony Brito, as a fill-in starter, has done a solid job. So I'll put him in good, to be honest with you. Average going on to good, just for the fact of, like I said, what can you really expect out of, a 7th starter, really? Clay Holmes, interesting one here. Now, of course, there was a lot of controversy the other night, and I don't have a huge issue with Boone pulling German. The issue is that he went to Clay Holmes, who, on 4 days rest, he's never good when he's had a long layoff. A runner was on, and something I've quickly realized with Clay is I don't think he is closer material, and mainly the reason is he gets the yips. He really does. I mean, the second he loses the zone or, something goes wrong, like when he made the error the other night, he kind of he loses himself, and it clearly gets in his head. That can't really happen when you're a closer, so, I'm out on Clay in terms of him pitching the 9th inning, at least for now. However, his stuff, I think, is still arguably the best on the Yankees, so he has valuable innings ahead of him, just probably more so in the 6th or the 7th. But anyways, 3.72 ERA on the year, and to be honest, I'm not that mad at Clay, really, because I think it's just been mismanagement at this point, at least particularly the other night. I'll put Clay in the... I will put him in the needs to be better, because he for sure does need to be better. I think he will be, just not as Yankee closer. Gerrit Cole, easy answer, incredible. I'm recording this after Game 2 against the Guardians, which, Cole wasn't great. He kind of labored, but Cole laboring is 6 innings, 2 runs, and gave the Yankees a chance to win. Was actually on hook for the loss when he left. Of course, they ended up coming back. The Yankees are now 7-0 in his starts this year. Stats on the year, 1.35 ERA, 5-0, and his personal record. Gerrit Cole's incredible, easy. Jimmy Cordero, he's been solid for us. Stats in the year, 10 1/3 innings pitched, 2.61 ERA. Put him in the good category. DJ LeMahieu. DJ's been solid now, not necessarily great. The OPS has fallen below 800. It's now at he's at a 760, but 260 batting average, 3 homers, and a 114 WRC plus. For those not familiar with that stat, I'm going to use it a lot in this video and kind of just on the channel. Period. League average is 100, so DJ being at 114 means he's been 14% better than a league average hitter, which, with the way this Yankee lineup is, that's basically prime Barry Bonds. So DJ will put you in, not great, but you've definitely been good. Scott Efros has not played and will not play, is recovering from Tommy John surgery. Franchy Cordero just got sent down again today when the Yankees activated Harrison Bader, which was an awesome move. For the first time in a while, he kind of felt a little bit of a sense of urgency from the Yankees, which was nice. But anyways, Cordero, great first week. Me and Power talking about it, coining him, or at least talking about the discussion, is he the next Matt Carpenter? I may have gotten a little bit too excited about him. I'm a fan. We're all fans. It happens. Bottom line is, since then, he's been shit, though. I mean, I mentioned that first week he was great, but since then, overall, 18 games in the season, 151 average, a 52 WRC plus. So he's been, what is the math on that? 48% worse? 48% worse than a league average hitter, which is just insane. So I'll put him in the we'll put him in the awful slash cut because he technically did get cut, so that makes sense. Domingo German, and yeah, how about that start the other night? I mean, he really was nuts. That's what's crazy about German is that sometimes he looks like a mediocre fifth starter, and then the next game he can pitch like a Cy Young candidate. Truly, there's times he looks like the best pitcher in the league, and that's what we saw in Game 1 against Cleveland. Stats in the year still not great because he has been inconsistent. 4.46 ERA, 2-2 record, and 6 starts. I'll put him in. Honestly, I want to give him a slight nod above average, kind of for the same reasons I mentioned with Jhony Brito. You know what? I feel like I'm being a little bit too generous though with the good category, so I'll go with average on the verge of good. Nah, because I put Brito in good. We're gonna put him in good. Call me a homer. I'm sorry. I think Herman's actually been pretty solid this year. He's not a player I have a problem with his performance. Really, not at all. And pitching, period. I mean, it's this. You guys know the story, but the offense is why we've been struggling so much. Not the pitching. Speaking of Giancarlo Stanton, love him to death. One of my favorite Yankees probably of all time. As expected, he landed on the IL again. Probably not going to be back until late June, maybe even at the earliest. And we all know the deal with Stanton and how he handles IL rust. I mean, even if you get him back, let's just say first week in July, you can't really bank on Stanton being Stanton until maybe last week of that month or first week in August. But, I mean, he's not going to play so much to where I probably should just put him in the has not played. If I was judging him off those 13 games, he'd be in the great category because he was really good. I mean, in those 13 games, 269 average, 4 homers, 133 WRC plus. He was off to a great start. But, and what's so frustrating about it is, this is something you should expect. Like, yeah, you can say Yankees have had tough luck with injuries, but who are the guys getting injured? Giancarlo Stanton, injury prone. Harrison Bader, injury prone. Carlos Rodon, injury prone. Luis Severino, injury prone. So it's like, this stuff you got to prepare for, man, which is why I don't really feel any sympathy towards the Yankees and why I'm pretty damn pissed about our current situation. Stanton has not played. I can already tell, by the way, I'm going quite long with each individual player, so I'm going to speed this up a little bit. Gleyber Torres having a good year. Average has fallen a little bit, 245 in 30 games, but he does have a 350 OBP, 4 homers, and a 133 WRC plus. And we'll talk about Volpe in a minute, but after that Volpe homer, almost just as huge, Gleyber with the double, which eventually he would score on Rizzo's RBI single. We'll put Gleyber in the good category, and he's been legitimately good. He's been borderline great, considering what the rest of the line has been doing. Ian Hamilton, how about this dude? Honestly, I'll put him in the great category, because I am partially factoring expectations. Real quick, 15 2/3, 1.72 ERA, 19 strikeouts. You guys all know the story. This dude, he's really been through it, like a lot of shit, and he's been one of our better arms in the bullpen this year. And one of the few areas I can compliment the Yankees on, they are good at that. They're able to just find arms and turn them into stud relievers, and we're kind of seeing that with Hamilton so far. Same with Jhony Cordero, the way he's looked. Harrison Bader came back the day I'm recording this, but obviously has not played. So, and I'll do another one of these probably, maybe not once a month, but like maybe once every 45 games. So there'll be a couple more of these throughout the year. Aaron Hicks, obviously going to go in the awful / cut category, and I do feel bad for him, to be honest with you guys. Like it's tough to see him, get booed all the time. Though I don't blame anybody for doing it. I mean, I essentially do it myself when I watch at home from my couch. But 18 games, 156 average, 0 homers. And, I mentioned the WRC plus stat where 100 is league average. Aaron Hicks is currently at a 10 WRC plus, which is a stat. I mean, that's something like I might be able to do. Hit a 10 WRC plus in the big leagues. And you guys have seen my swing. If any of you watch the Blitzball battles over at the Warehouse Games channel. But 10 WRC plus, that's the kind of stat you joke about, like the average civilian being able to at least manage that in the big leagues. And that's what Hicks is doing. I feel bad for him. Wouldn't be shocked if, when we do eventually cut him, which I believe will happen. I think he'll eventually get DFA'd, probably by Memorial Day. Or not Memorial Day, maybe at least by Stanton when he comes back. But anyways, I could see him coming, or going to another team, new change of scenery, and kind of finding it and being a decent player. But it's quite obvious, like this matchup, this marriage, if you will, is no longer working. Kyle Higashioka, I'll put him in the good category, backup catcher, and he does actually have pop. There's times where, Trevino is actually hitting well, and I'll talk about him, but there's times where Higgy's in the lineup, I don't want to say prefer that, but there's a higher chance he can run into one. But, he's a catcher, can't expect, too much with the bat. He's been solid, so is Trevino, which we'll talk about in a moment. IKF, kind of the same deal when I talk about mismanagement. I'm not mad at the player. He shouldn't really even be here. He's making $6 million. Yankees could have given that $6 million to Matt Carpenter or Jerkson Pro for another player they really could have used right now. IKF's kind of just like a man without a role that has a role, if that makes sense. He shouldn't be the Yankees center fielder as often as he is, but he has played. I'll put him in the needs to be better category because I think he has handled himself real well. Kind of the difference between him and Hicks is the fact that, Hicks complains about playing time, whereas IKF just says all the right things like, I'm happy to be a Yankee, I just want to win, which is awesome. And he's made some damn good plays in center field. I have to give him that. Aaron Judge, of course, now on the IL. Won't be out long. We'll be back on Monday once the 10 days is up. Gonna miss the Rays series, the first one at least, which really sucks. But, if all goes right, he'll be back we have an Oakland series after the 3 games at the Trop, and then we have 4 back at Yankee Stadium against the Rays. He'll be healthy for that, which will be huge. But anyways, on the season so far for Judge, 26 games. Regressed a little bit, 261 average, 352 on base, 6 homers, 136 WRC plus. For reference, last year in his historic season, he was at a 211 WRC plus. And of course, he wasn't going to be as good as he was last year. We know that. He does have to be a little bit better, but I'm not going to put him in that category. I'm not going to put him in average. I'm going to put him in good, because Judge has been good. He technically was the best hitter on the team when he's healthy. Not as good as he can be, but you kind of know Judge will get there, so no issue with him. Of course, he's been good, but I expect he'll be better. Tom McKinley has not played, although he is on his way back. He actually might be back, I think, before the end of May, they're talking, which would be huge. Michael King got the save tonight against the Guardians when I'm recording this. He right now is the most effective reliever in the Yankees' pen, next to Jhony Brito maybe, but I wouldn't even say that. I think Michael King right now has found his stuff. He's fully back from that whack injury he had last year where he broke his elbow, just throwing the pitch. Dude's been nuts. 17 and 2/3 innings, 1.56 ERA. I think right now it's quite clear he has to pretty much be the Yankee closer, because it's not Clay Holmes, so either him or Jhony Brito. I'm going to put Michael King in the great category. Jonathan Loáisiga, a big blow on him. He'll not be back, or he won't be back till August at the earliest, maybe September. Tough to really even consider him too much of a factor with that, because then, you got to get built back up. Granted, he's reliever, so that's not as hard, but big blow. If he were healthy right now, maybe he's rivaling King as the best in the pen, but I'll just put him in the has not played. He was around for, a week or two, but we're not going to see him for a while. Trevino, another guy, has not played, will not play. Tommy John surgery, quite incredible. Every pitcher they got at the deadline last year, literally all of them got some sort of arm surgery. Frankie Montas, Trevino, Scott Efros too. Crazy. Speaking of, Frankie Montas has not played, although kind of an optimistic outlook on him. His timetable was moved up pretty early. He could start. He's already starting a throwing program. They say he could be pitching in the big leagues by August, which that would be pretty huge. Not necessarily for a starting spot, but if the Yankees need it, that is technically enough time to get built back up. Regardless, understand, a healthy Frankie Montas is one of the better starters in the American League. It's just last year he wasn't healthy. Nestor Cortes got rocked in Texas the other day, really inflated his stats. Right now he's up to a 4.91 ERA, 3-2 record in 6 starts. I don't want to get too caught up in one bad outing. Before that, going into that start, Nestor had a 3.5. So, he's been good this year. That one start really messes up his stats, but I'm going to put him in the good category. On the tier of going down to average, of course, if that continues to where he doesn't pitch all that well. But like I said, for the most part this year, Nestor's been pretty damn good for us. And I think he's looked good too. He's looked like Nestor. His stuff has been great. Oswald Peraza, Yankees are screwing him over playing time-wise. I'm not even sure what the plan is, really. He's clearly the best option in regards to, the bottom of the lineup and some of the guys that are running out there. I understand stats haven't been great. He's only played 11 games, 188 average, 316 OBP, 65 WRC plus. But this dude was a top prospect for a reason. He was going into spring training as the lead candidate to be the Yankees starting shortstop, and now he's not getting consistent playing time, which is just really weird. I'm going to put him in... Damn, last year I had a need to see more category. So for Peraza, because it's only 11 games, I'll put him in needs to be better, sure, because he does have to be better if he wants to play more, but he hasn't really had the chance. Anthony Rizzo. Anthony Rizzo's been good. I'm going to put him in the... Actually, I'll put him in the great, because he technically, now that Judge is out, has been the Yankees' most consistent and best hitter. 30 games, 282 average, 370 OBP, leads the team, 5 homers, 137 WRC plus. So Rizzo, you're going in the great category. Kind of expected. Easily, probably next to Judge, the most consistent on the team, just generally speaking. Rodon, kind of already talked about him, has not played. Yeah, not sure what the deal is. I guess... I don't know. Hopefully we get him by the All-Star break. And I can't talk too much shit about it because I was pumped when we got Rodon. It does suck, though, the way this is all turning out. But he'll be back at some point. Knock on wood. Ron Marinaccio, pride of Tom's River, dude, has overtaken Todd Frazier for that name. Yo, he's been money. He is from my hometown of Tom's River, so I love him a little bit more. But yo, 12 1/3 innings, 2.19 ERA, 18 strikeout. He's been great. Another guy that's probably a top 4 arm in the Yankee pen right now. I'll go great from Marinaccio. I think he's been awesome. Severino has not played, although he is coming back they think, before May. So it could be 2 to 3 weeks from now. He's making a rehab assignment, start on sometime this week with the Tampa Tarpons. So he's on his way back. That'll be huge. And also not even just from how good he is, but also just, it's nice, same with Bader coming back today. You essentially just see names, like legitimate established baseball players back on the roster. It just makes it feel better, even if you're not all the optimistic that they might win. It's just like, all right, at least I'm watching the Yankees right now. At least it somewhat feels like that. Clarke Schmidt, he's getting the ball probably when you guys are watching this on Wednesday against the Guardians. He has not been good. He has shown flashes of, I guess I could say, greatness in one start against the Blue Jays. He was money in. But overall on the year, 0-3, 6.84 ERA. Definitely needs to be better. I mean, that one start isn't enough for me to get excited about him, because I already know Clarke Schmidt has great stuff. It's about putting it all together. I think in the end he factors way better as a reliever, not a starter, although the Yankees don't really have a choice right now. So at least until Sevy comes back, probably at least another 2-3 starts for him. And I mean, I don't want to talk about this too much because we'll be over by a day. But Clarke needs the ball up on Wednesday's start against Shane Bieber and the Guardians, because that would be a big series to win. Jose Trevino, I want to give him props because I kind of give him shit a little bit. Not shit, but I'm not as in love with him as everybody else is. I mean, in terms of being a Yankee and just a great dude, Trevino's the man. I love him to death. But as for him, the player, one of the big things I was talking this year on the pessimistic side of things is that this guy is not a good hitter whatsoever. He had a good first half last year, but then in the second half returned to what he normally is, and that's like an 80 WRC plus bat. A guy that's well below league average, which, for a platinum glove catcher is, I guess, fine, but I was pretty much trying to temper expectations. He's been pretty good. I mean, 3 home runs so far on the year, pretty big homers too. 85 WRC plus, and from the catcher position, I'll take that from Trevino. So I'm going to put him in the good category. Only other complaint, or only real complaint, I guess, would be his arm just worries me. I mean, especially with the way people are stealing bases left and right in the game today. Definitely seen a lot of runners go on him and be safe. But, besides, I mean, it's one of those things, and this is how I feel about pretty much any decent player in the Yankees. It's like, you're not the one I'm going to complain about right now. You know what I mean? Speaking of decent players, speaking of great players, Anthony Volpe. I'm actually going to put him in the great category. Now, the first week or two was kind of rough for him, not defensively. I think defensively, for the most part, he's been great pretty much all season long. With the bat, though, definitely was, I don't know if it was pressing or what, but the results just weren't there. However, since then, since probably week 2 of the season, he's been great. OPS is well over 800 by now. Actually, on the season total, not just over the last 2 weeks, he's actually an above league average hitter. He's at a 103 WRC+. Of course, has 10 stolen bases. Batting just 222 overall on the year. He's batting 230 on the year, but 336 OBP, and those stats are only going up. I mean, for a rookie, and of course, just the way he handled himself, I think Volpe's been incredible. I really do. And I tweeted out earlier tonight, honestly, Anthony Volpe, just a month in, is already one of the best players on the Yankees. Now, whether that says more about him or the Yankees roster, you guys can comment that for yourselves. But bottom line is, Volpe, I think, has been awesome, and he's only going to get better, which is huge. On the contrary, the opposite side of things, another rookie, Oswald Peraza, he has been awful. Now, I'm not going to put him in the awful/cut category.
Her body's going like September. She burns through the night like an ember. And all those things we try forgetting, I remember. But we say